Okay, there are many ways to make handles. This video is going to show you how to pull a handle. So you want to start with a nice wedged piece of clay and you want to pat it into somewhat of a carrot top shape. So if this was a big giant carrot, this is the top of it and we're angling downward. And we're going to grab it with our left hand. Got a nice grip there. And I'm going to work with it just like we cone up on the wheel when we're centering. We're going to start to pull clay down, kind of like we're milking a cow. You want to probably have your bucket right underneath you. If you don't like to get messy, water's going to roll down your elbow. So if you have like a sweat wristband or a bandana or something, or a top of a tube sock you could cut off and stick on your wrist, that'll catch the water drips. So you want to get your hand wet, and every couple pulls you're going to get your hand wet again. And what we're doing is we're sliding that top layer of clay down. And see how I'm holding this top now and I'm rotating. This whole clay, I can pull a couple handles from this glob of clay. You don't want to start off with so much clay that this arm starts to get tired while you do this. So you want enough to be able to hold it up in the air. And I'm doing this position, I'm kind of grasping the clay. I'm not squeezing it. If I squeeze it, I'm going to strangle it and pull a chunk off in my hand. So I'm just lightly kind of combing the surface to get it going. If you don't get anywhere, then just try pulling a little harder. And see, I'm rotating my top hand so that, this isn't a symmetrical shape. So I'm kind of rotating so I get the same shape on all sides. And once I get some length pulled down in it, then I can work with the shape. But I'm rotating it just to get that thickness narrowed down. So now I'm going to start to just focus on this section here. All right. And I'm going to start to be more purposeful. I'm going to start to flatten out a little bit with my pulls, and I'm going to go back and forth so that my thumb is getting both angles of my thumb on that. So I'm starting to flatten it out a little bit. You might start to get this like negative speed bump. I don't know what, the ditch there. And what I do to get rid of that, you want to get rid of that. That is not really pleasant to hold on to usually. You can soften it out by running your thumb along that edge. And in fact, if you want more of a backbone, I'm just kind of holding it and combing it down, and eventually it'll reverse and be more narrow on the edge and thick in the middle. And then you can also come on the opposite side. And now here we're starting to make a front and a back, or an outside and an inside. So I'm going to press my thumb down the center of that handle, and I'm going to come back. I'm doing this shape. Just be careful. It's, again, you might have some tears. You might have to do 100 handles. But you'll get there. I promise. I got there. You can get there. This is probably my, I don't know. Have no idea how many pots I've made in my lifetime, but I'm still improving on handles 20 years later. So now I have this nice, just a little bit of an indent here and a little bit of an arc on the outside. There are all different ways to make handles, so please explore images and videos on YouTube, but trying to set you up for some good habits and some bad habits to steer clear from. So now I've got this nice shape. You could lay it flat and let it dry just a little bit. Some people lay a bunch of them out flat and then come back and shape them. I sometimes let them dry just a little bit like this. I'm gonna slice it off. You could do either way. So I'm gonna take my knife, you could take your needle tool, and I'm gonna slice, hold on to it, and have a board or your bat, and just start a collection of these, and we're gonna pull a couple of them, so just set them down. And it's gonna take, depending on, I know the weather's changing right now, so keep an eye on your handles. Those are hard to wrap and save for another time because it's such a small object, it will dry out. So make sure when you're doing handles, you can come back to them in an hour or two and attach them to your mugs. And we'll talk about attaching in another video. Let's pull another handle together. You can also pull handles straight off the mugs. That'll be in another video as well. Let's just focus on practicing this. The great thing about this is you don't have to have a mug. You could just practice this and throw out these handles, reclaim the clay, and keep coming back to this so that once you have that nice cup, you're not ruining it with an ugly handle. Okay, again, I'm rotating it. I'm working on the thickness. It's pretty round still as far as shape goes. Just narrowing it down. Again, I'm squeezing like this, kind of just like milking a cow if you've ever milked a cow. I actually haven't. I just assume it's like this from all the videos I've seen. Sounds like I sit around watching videos of cows getting milked. I don't. All right, are we catching on? So now that I'm starting to get narrower here, I'm gonna focus on that bottom part and I'm gonna start to flatten it out a little bit with more of a flattening shape. Okay, so I'm pulling like this and flipping and flipping. Again, I'm flipping so that the clay gets both angles of my hand, because you'll notice if you just keep going one direction, one side will get narrower than the other. And what you want to do then is once you get as narrow as you want, you start to angle the edges. And I'm kind of like pulling with my thumb. And I'm deciding that now back here is going to be the inside of the handle. And this is going to be the front of the handle. And you can make that more dramatic. You can really drag your thumb along there. So you can see that line a little bit more if you want, or you can just kind of soften it out and make it either way. So now we're going to save this one for later. You can also think about, like, I didn't have one of these examples, but your handle could be here. If you're not going to lay it flat and come back to it soon, kind of shape it how you're going to want it. It might be a circle, it might be more of a loop, it might be a D shape. So start to encourage it in the direction that you want to attach it on your mug. Or pull a bunch and give yourself some options. All right. Keep pulling handles. Practice, practice, practice. And check out the other videos for other ways to do handles.